Do you know that God speaks and can speak to you? He may direct you to give things away. Our giving is to be done quietly. Jesus warned us against giving with fanfare or in a manner that would draw attention to ourselves. And that is definitely not my purpose in sharing these this week with you. Don't let your left hand know what the right hand is doing, God told us. But I'm sharing these with you to know that as I felt these things come unto me, and I felt it was God speaking to me, that he will speak to you too. You just have to recognize it and follow it. So just listen to him speak as he tells you to give things to others. And as we give for God's glory, specifically, generously, joyously, God promises blessings. The one who gives generously also reaps generously. A generous man will himself be blessed, for he shares his food with the poor. And Jesus said in Luke 6:38, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For the measure you use, it will be measured to you." So in our giving for the glory of God, we build up treasures in heaven. So don't be afraid to give if God tells you. I've given away several sets of dishes, furniture, toys, trains, Christmas trees, decorations, knickknacks, jewelry, on and on. There have been many times that I knew God said, give it to him. Give it to her. One time I was at Walmart and I had just purchased a pair of earrings I really liked. They weren't expensive, but they were pretty. And so I went to Walmart and I saw a woman that she looked kind of sad. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I like your earrings." Okay, I heard the voice. It said, give them to her. But I let her walk away. And I heard it again. Then I took them off and I went to find her. And I found her a few aisles over. I walked to her, handed her the earrings, and I said, "God said to give you these. God bless you." She began to weep. She said that no one gives her anything. They are so pretty. And she asked if I was sure. And I assured her that I had to do as God said. Another time at church, I was wearing another pair of earrings. I had never worn them before. They were angel wings, very unique. And again, a lady admired them, and I heard the instruction immediately to give them to her. I heard the voice, give them to her. So she said, "Really?" I told her that God told me and asked if she would wear them. She said she would. So I told her, "They're yours." Another time at church, my mother had recently passed away, and I was wearing her watch. One of the ladies in my sign language group told me that her watch broke and she will need to get a new one. She said she was lost without her watch. Okay, you guessed it. I knew the voice. Give it to her. Even though it was my mother's, and I cherished it. I told her it had been my mother's, but that I had another watch. She said she couldn't take my mother's watch, and I explained that God told me she needed to take it, and she did. I heard the voice. Give it to her. Another time I was at a meeting. I took this really cute little clutch purse, multicolored. One lady said, "Oh, she liked it. She wished she had one like it." Okay, there it was again. There was that voice. The lady left early, but I knew I'd see her again. You got it. I went home, emptied the purse, and took it to her at the next meeting. Blessed her with it and said that God said to give it to her. I heard the voice. Give it to her. So that has happened over and over again with clothes, hats, jewelry, purses. Every time I tell them that God said to give it to them, God bless you. So in case you're wondering, it doesn't happen every day, okay? There are times when someone comments on something that I don't hear the voice, and maybe I should say have the feeling, whatever you take it to be. There's been many times that I'm getting ready to go somewhere and I put something on and I think, oh, I like this. And I think, oh Lord, not today, not this, okay? But if he tells me, I give it. Because I don't remember saying no, not obeying, when I hear the voice, when I heard the voice. And then there's Life Song, My Symphony. That's the title of my book. God impressed on me his voice to write the book. He kept reminding me through the years, and it took me about 15 years to write it. But that was because I needed that extra 15 years to have things to add to put into the book that he wanted me to write. So those years had to be part of the story. So I kept wondering, who would want to read all this mess? So I was at a meeting of a group called The Joyful Journey, where thousands of women were there to hear some women tell their stories. And God assured me that my story was for others. And he confirmed it in that meeting as I sat there and saw all these women wanting to hear just those kinds of stories. So after I published the book, I sold a few, and they're still out there. However, I was listening to a pastor on TV one day, and he was saying how God directed him to actually give away his products, books, tapes, etc. And I often ministered in jails and prisons, and to people in recovery and mentoring and so on. And when I heard that pastor give that message and talk about how God led him to give away, I felt like God spoke to me through Pastor Andrew and said, give the book to those you minister to personally. Since that day, I give them away to those that I minister to personally as God leads me. I heard the voice. Give them. So I challenge you, if you hear God's voice saying to you to give it away, don't be afraid to do it, because every time you do it, you will receive blessings. You'll build up those treasures in heaven. And people will say, oh, you don't hear God's voice. Well, it's not an audible voice that I hear. It's that feeling. It's that urge inside. You may call something intuition or a gut feeling or a curiosity or whatever, but I consider it to be God within me telling me to give it away. So share and subscribe for tips and live videos on how to know what God is saying as we ask him, you said what?